was talking to him about this earlier. So there's been a lot of controversy regarding Call of Duty, especially these last couple of years. Um, Majority of the community garners the opinion that Modern Warfare is the worst COD ever made. There's also a section of the community that has strong opinions on this current game, Cold War. If Modern Warfare is the worst COD, they would say that Cold War is the second worst COD, or they would flip it vice versa. Obviously, you guys know my opinions. I love this game. I think this game's great. Um, I fall into the category of people that can't stand Modern Warfare. I hate that game. But with that being said, this game and the last game draw a lot of similarities. Whether it's the way the create a class system is, or the way the guns are designed, map style, a lot of stuff. Those two games have a lot of similarities. So, that being said, I like. I've been told recently by a good amount of people that my opinion's wrong. That Cold War, that I'm in the minority. That Cold War is not a great game. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could start with Kyle. I mean, I know you.
I enjoy Cold War.
Yeah,
Cold War is the first COD that I've actually enjoyed watching and playing.
yeah. I mean, that's when I look and I see people like Kyle who haven't played COD in forever, and they get on this game and they go, "Wow, this game's actually a lot of fun." It makes me go, "How can you ignore stuff like that?" I know. Again, we have people like my friend Mike who can't stand. He can't stand this game. He plays like strictly zombies because he hates multiplayer. But then again, that's another thing where like the game gives you multiple facets to play. What did you have in Modern Warfare? In MW, you had multiplayer, and then you had that
Warzone.
Warzone. That was it. And now Warzone's like its own thing now. So like, you can't even link it to Modern Warfare anymore because it's part of Cold War too. So like, you basically just have multiplayer in Modern Warfare, and at that point, you just have to compare the two base modes between Cold War's multiplayer and Modern Warfare's multiplayer, because again, you can't exclude the other modes. I mean, if you're adding other modes, then Cold War wins by a landslide because the multiplayer, zombies. So I mean, that's already diversifying. I mean, MW had a Spec Ops mode, but it was garbage. No one played it. It was honestly a joke. So, um, I mean, if you're talking about like just base modes between multiplayer between the two games, I think Cold War wins. I think it wins it pretty handily. The issue with MW was just a lot of like quality of life stuff when it comes to the perk system. Cold War has a ninja perk, which really goes to help out with the way the sound design is. I think the sound design in this game personally is a lot better than MW. I mean, yeah, the guns don't sound as realistic as they do in MW, but
Okay, yeah, but I don't want to have my ears blown out
exactly. I
in my
mean,
shoot.
you load up a game of Warzone and like I have to turn my volume down on my headset like significantly because the game is just naturally loud. Especially when you have to crank it up to the boost setting and the audio settings because you can't hear footsteps. So you have to crank everything up, and it just blows your eardrums out. In this game, I can have music on playing in the background. I can like it's a vibey game. I don't have to like sit there and act like I'm actually in the military while playing this game, which I felt like I had to do that a lot with MW, especially with how fast you died in the game. I mean, you die fast in this game too. You die pretty quickly in this game, more than I would like, but it's fast. It's not as fast as MW, where someone looks at you and you drop dead. That's why everyone's posting up on Hades in that game. So I don't know. I enjoy this
Side
game a lot
note,
more. Gotcha Prestige
um,
one.
trying out some candy I got for Christmas. These Trolley Sour Crunchy Crawlers. Man, they slap.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, they have a nice hard outer shell that's really easy to crunch,
Hmm.
and the flavors aren't bad. Maybe not as sour as I would prefer, but overall, 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I just had some Lindor caramels, like the Lindor, but the inside is caramel. Solid 9 out of 10. You can't go wrong with any type of Lindor, though.
Okay. Can you go ahead and start the game up?
Yeah,
Excuse me.
welcome to Kyle. Welcome to Kyle's Candy Review.
Yeah, seriously though.
Well, let me add that marker.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I enjoy this game a lot. What I do think is funny, I had this conversation with my friend Spaz the other day when I was telling him, and Josh actually said the same thing. When I was telling him that I like Cold War, and Kyle, I know you don't know a lot about COD developers, so this is probably all Greek to you. But there's two main COD developers, right? There's Infinity Ward and there's Treyarch.
Yeah, I know that. I know that.
There's actually a third one, Sledgehammer, which I'll get into that later. But those are the two main ones. Cold War is developed by Treyarch. Modern Warfare is developed by Infinity Ward. A lot of people, when I bring up the fact that I enjoy this game over Modern Warfare, they like to say, and then I also bring up the fact that I didn't really enjoy Infinite Warfare or COD Ghost as much, which are all Infinity War games. People go, oh, we get it, you're just a Treyarch stan. Well, what they fail to realize is that I also did not enjoy Black Ops 4. I didn't like Black Ops 1 or World at War. I liked Black Ops 2 and 3, but that's about it. And then obviously I like this game. So for me, it has nothing to do with the developer that makes the game. For me, it's all about just if I like the game or not. I don't stand one developer over the other. And people go, who's the best COD developer, Infinity Ward or Treyarch, or God forbid someone to test Sledgehammer, which I'd have to slap them at that point. But
with the sledgehammer.
With a sledgehammer. It's not down to that for me. It has nothing to do with who makes the game. It's all about just if you make a good game or not. I don't care if Raven makes a COD game. If the game's banger, I'm gonna say the game's banger. That's just how I go about things. With that being said, I mean, you look at my history, I've been pretty even when it comes to developers, so I would say that my history stands by that. Now, the reason I said I'd have to come back to Sledgehammer is because they only have 2 COD games in the series. They have two entries in the series. They have Advanced Warfare, which, God, that's a polarizing game. Either you love it or you hate it. Which I fall into the hate.
Wait, which one was Advanced Warfare?
Advanced Warfare was the first COD to have advanced movement in it. It was the one that started it all.
I semi-like that game. I semi-like that game.
A lot of new COD players enjoy Advanced Warfare. A lot of the classic older players can't stand it. We thought it was the worst game to ever come out. And it has nothing to do with how the game played necessarily as its own game. I think if Advanced Warfare was its own standalone game, it didn't have the title of Call of Duty on it, then I think it'd be a fantastic game. But it wasn't COD. Yeah, like it wasn't a COD game. The other entry in that list for Sledgehammer is World War II, COD World War II. Also a polarizing game.
That game was like hype for a second and then fell off.
Yeah, and that's because that game, also polarizing, people have a lot of strong opinions on that. Because the game is essentially 2 different games. There was the first game, which was the first half of the year, when they tried this completely new system. They tried to do things on a loadout-based thing. It was really weird the way their perks were designed, the way the guns and the class setup was. No one liked it. It was horrible. Wasn't fun at all. And then mid-year, they fired the guy who was in charge, and they redid everything. They said, "We hear you. We recognize these mistakes, and we're gonna do our best to correct them, and we're gonna completely overhaul the way the game's played." Keep in mind, this is mid-game cycle. This has never been done before in a COD game. They like really just overhauled the entire game mid-year. And
you're forgetting about whatchamacallit, No Man's Sky.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like
No Man's Sky came afterwards.
Well, yeah, but this has never been done in a COD game before.
Well, yeah, because all COD games are basically the same game, just a little different.
I have completely different opinions on that.
Okay, it's the same premise. It's the same idea.
Because it's
a
first-person shooter, so there's only so different you can get with the idea of an FPS. But I mean, they're definitely not the same game year to year. I mean, you can look at like a Black Ops 4 to MW for evidence of that. But getting sidetracked here. The thing is, World War II is, yeah, they completely redid the game mid-cycle. It never happened before. And the problem is that you have people like me who stuck around to play the second half of the year, and I go, oh my god, World War II is amazing. Like, I go back and play World War II now, and I have some of the most fun that I've had in a COD game. But people that only experience the first half of the year, they go, that game sucks, that game's horrible. And they're justified those opinions because they didn't play the new version of the game. So Sledgehammer's if you're keeping score, Sledgehammer's essentially 0 for 2. And Cold War was supposed to be their third entry
Honestly,
in the COD series.
I'd say Sledgehammer is 1 for 1 in the fact that because they're such polarizing games, I'd say you give them a half point in each.
I mean, I agree. If it's up to me, I give them, which I guess essentially is, I give them that 1 point for World War II, or for Advanced Warfare, whichever one you want to go. I lean to the side of World War II. But their third entry in the series was supposed to be this game, actually. It was supposed to be Black Ops Cold War. Anyone who's been paying attention to COD at all knows that obviously this is a Treyarch game, so what the hell happened? It's just simply that Activision pulled the plug. Apparently Raven and Sledgehammer couldn't get their ducks in a line, couldn't get their shit together, and
COVID and whatnot.
No, this was way before COVID. So Sledgehammer and Raven Software couldn't get their stuff together. They had massive disagreements on the direction of the game. So, and apparently it was like this overly complicated logistical nightmare. So Activision comes in and goes, you know what, I'm pulling the plug, we're done with this. They decide to hand over the reins to Treyarch, and they go, you're going to completely redo everything, you're going to remake the game. Now luckily, Sledgehammer had been making a Cold War game, and that's what Treyarch wanted to make anyway, so it works out in that regard. But this is why I give this game a pass for a lot of things, because this wasn't supposed to be Treyarch's year. Up to this point, we had been on 3-year life cycles for COD, and they just kind of got handed the reins of a COD game mid-cycle. Not only that, but then obviously the pandemic hits. So now you're dealing with compromised working environments. Normally where you'd be working in a 5-star studio, you're working out of the desk at your house. So
with probably much worse tier equipment.
Yes. So I give them a pass, honestly.
I mean, for a game, I'm not gonna say this for a fact, but in my opinion, in what I think happens, I'm not 100% sure, completely opinion statement here, but I'd assume the first things that happen is they start making scripts, they start hard coding in these mechanics.
Yes.
Then they move to modeling. They make the buildings, they make the assets, they make the guns, they make skins with texturing and whatnot, and then animating, final bugging and whatnot, and then playtesting, stuff like that. Well, if they have these modelers working from home when they were used to high quality studios with top of the line PCs that could run any game on any spec and could do these impossible tasks and calculations in a split second, then being at home really limits their ability to work. And I can speak personally to this as a person who does 3D modeling. Because I do 3D modeling. I've gotten paid to do 3D modeling for indie games before. Working on a personal computer that isn't like top tier makes work difficult.
Oh yeah.
I'll literally make something I'll make the tiniest little 3D scene, and it takes me 8 hours to render it and make it look nice. Because my computer isn't some top of the line god tier system.
And that's why I say I give them I cut them a lot of slack for everything. Hell, the fact that this game released on
Talk about
time.
this napalm placement for a moment. Look at that.
Yeah. The fact that this game released on time is honestly a miracle and a credit to the staff of Treyarch. And also the thing is, also we don't know how, because they didn't tell us. We have no idea how far along in development Sledgehammer was in regards to making this game. I mean, that's why a lot of people have the opinion that this game doesn't feel or look like a Treyarch game, which it doesn't. I definitely, there's a lot of elements in this game that are strongly hint of Sledgehammer, specifically the maps. We don't know how many maps were made.
Hold on a second. Let's check up chat. Amazing how you can do a whole podcast and play at the same time. You know what? Marcus Kyle podcast, baby, come soon. You know, it's amazing. I'm also looking at models for characters on a social platform using Unity. That's actually really cool. I'm not big into character modeling, just because I think it's a pain in the butt. I know make assets. If you're ever like trying to figure out software that's not expensive, highly would recommend Blender. It has everything you could ever need in a 3D software. It's completely free and open source. Sculpting, stuff like that.
Where
it is one of the most widely used home VFX and 3D modeling software.
I'm sure Corey probably already knows everything about Blender. I mean, he's like you're like what, a 4-year college student, Corey? So, I'm sure by now he probably knows that. But for everyone else, definitely. For those of you guys that are new into
3D modeling, absolutely Blender, burn it. There's a learning curve to it. It took me about 3 weeks to actually get comfortable with it, just watching a lot of YouTube videos. But oh my god, afterwards, like, honestly, Corey, if you're still new at it, how I learn, and I don't know what type of learning you are, I'm very hands-on, I learn through doing stuff. I literally just pulled up YouTube videos, I want to say like Wonder Guru, and just was like, how to make sci-fi background, how to make 80s vaporwave sunset scene in Blender. Like, just learning how to make background images, like, to put on your PC, and okay, so this is kind of the controls, this is how you manipulate things.
I want to point out, that was a 98 kill game.
What?
Yeah. That was,
Nah, you're kidding.
Yeah, it was a 98 kill
game.
Oh
my god.
Yeah. I was trying to get to 100. Unfortunately, our team decided they were going to cap the point at the end there. I really wanted to...
If you would have told me I was on the point, you would have told me I would have hopped off.
We had some randoms on it too, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, but...
I was trying to go for 100 there, but it's fine.
Wow.
But, yeah, no, it's... Again, we don't... I'll loop back to our original conversation. Just the fact that, I mean, yeah, we don't know how far along Sledgehammer was. It's a miracle this game came out, and it's in the condition that it's in. I mean, you heard me complain, Kyle, a lot about the alpha and the beta. It was in a rough state. It was rough, and even when the game first came out, it was in a really rough position. But I cut them a lot of slack for that. But I think the game has come out and it's been a lot better. Now, again, I don't know this information. This is just me speculating. But I feel like part of the reason that I vibe a lot with the new map is because that feels more like a Treyarch map, something that Treyarch would make. Whereas a lot of these older maps feel a lot more like
check your stream.
I saw. A lot of those older maps feel a lot like something Sledgehammer would make. I could be wrong about that. Treyarch could have made most of these maps, but they just, I don't know, they don't really feel like it.
Enemy has A.